many, and call upon the name of your gods, but put no fire under. And they took the bullock which was given unto them, and they dressed it, and called the name of Baal from morning unto noon, saying, Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, nor any that answered, and leaped upon the altar which was made. So I sort of, and just envision them, wailing at the altar for hours upon hours, probably convinced that something's going to happen, and nothing happens. And as we'll see as we continue on, verse 27, and it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, Cry aloud, for he is a power. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or peradventure he sleepeth and must be awakened. So he's kind of joking, with their prophets. Maybe your God's occupied doing something else, and that's why he's not answering your call. It's pretty funny. Verse 28, and they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets till blood gushed out upon them. So all these, ridiculous things that they're doing, mutilating their bodies, in order to, have their quote unquote power, answer their call. And of course, these types of cutting the flesh. It's a sin to do that. There's a scripture that specifically refers to thou shalt make no cuttings in thy flesh. And of course, doing this is very wicked. But by committing these sins and these evil acts, this is one way that those prophets then and also now receive power on the left-hand side by committing these wicked acts. But let's continue. Verse 29. And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice nor any to answer, nor any that regarded. Right, because ultimately, even though there is power, in fact, on the left-hand side, the spiritual demon Satan, and of course there's legions of demons, and the wicked elite of Esau, the Edomites, work very closely with them. Ultimately, the left-hand side is all subject to the Most High, Yahawah, and ultimately is subject to the right-hand side, which is led by Yahawashi. Verse 30, and Elijah said unto all the people, Come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him, and he repaired the altar of the Most High that was broken down. And Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of the Most High came, saying, Israel shall be thy name. Right, we are his chosen holy nation, set above all the other nations, the heathen nations on the earth. Verse 32, and with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Most High, and he made a trench about the altar as great as would contain 2 meters of seed. And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, and laid him on the ground, and said, Fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. Verse 34. And he said, Do it the second time, and they did it the second time. And he said, Do it the third time, and they did it the third time. So he's just drenching this altar in water, so that there's pretty much no doubt that, how on earth can this altar be lit on fire? But as we'll see, nothing is impossible to the Most High. Verse 35, and the water ran round about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. Verse 36, and it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Yahawah, power of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art the power in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word. Hear me, O Yahawah, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Most High Yahawah, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Most High fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. So everything ignited. Very, very cool image that comes to mind. And when all the people saw it, they fell upon their faces, and they said, Yahawah, He is the power, the Most High, He is the power. So when people saw that out of such a circumstance where everything was drenched in water, and then this great sort of miraculous, I don't even like to use the word miracle because I feel like it just kind of has weird connotations, but the fire falling from the sky, right, happens, that people are instantly turned back to the Most High because they recognize they now have a very clear visual of who the true power is. Verse 40, and Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there. So all of the false prophets of the nation of Israel get slain, and many, many believers are converted. So this type of miracle, I believe through the Spirit, these are the types of things that we're going to start seeing very, very soon, and these powers will come. The book of Revelation also speaks to it as well. Revelation chapter 11, verse 5, and if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Now, this, as we know, the wisdom of the scriptures is manifold. There are several different layers of meaning here, but looking at it a little bit more superficially, fire proceeding out of the mouth of the prophet. This is kind of a neat visual here. The title is right here below. You can put that into YouTube and kind of see this. I don't want to play the video, because of copyright strikes and all that kind of stuff. But this will kind of give you again another visual of fire coming forth. And I think these visuals are pretty important. These Japanese cartoons, that would be the nation of Ammon, really have so many different types of visuals as it relates to what these types of powers would look like, the types of powers we once exercised, and so many of the content and media that they produce, especially that's circulated worldwide, in a lot of ways, of course, it's a much you have to filter it through the scriptures, of course, and it's not going to be, it's certainly not perfect, and kind of altered and changed in many ways, but it's describing the elect, the powers that we once had, and the abilities, and then the powers that will be returned to us. So it's pretty cool. And even the scriptures speak to the importance of having a vision. Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. So very important to have this vision. Again, this is manifold wisdom here. This is a vision on kind of many levels. I'm looking more at sort of looking at it with a superficial lens here. But having these visuals is, I believe it's very powerful. Some of the videos that I've done before, I've stressed the importance of our thoughts and our mind in sort of building us up or tearing us down, bringing us health or bringing us sickness. And the scriptures very, very much speak to that exact point. More lessons to come in the future. I hope this was helpful. Shalom.